talked in other podcasts about gardening,
Mm-hmm.
not showering too much. I mean, there are other things
Right.
moms can do, or maybe just your wife did that you think are helpful.
Yeah, I think being outdoors is absolutely important because the more we can engage with bacteria in an environment, the healthier our microbiome becomes. And I don't mean, going to just the local park, which is just engineered sod and soil, right? I mean, going out for a hike in the woods. We went on a lot of walks. We have a lot of forest preserve where I live, and so we go out for walks and bike rides and things like that through the trails in the woods, and just being in that air alone will get you exposure to bacteria. We have dogs, rescue dogs, and dogs are really phenomenally important. There are studies that show that households with dogs have kids with fewer incidences of asthma, allergies, and immune dysfunctions because dogs are great at going out, picking up bacteria from the environment and bringing it into your home. And that's a really important thing. And so, if you are up for it, if you don't have one, maybe get a dog. That actually can be a significant help. Dogs will also help reduce stress and increase things like oxytocin, which is an amazing hormone for reducing stress and helping the fetus develop. And then,
dog. I mean, just to think outside the box, like we don't have a dog because we're in a rental right now, but our neighbors do. So I just go over and hang out. You know what I mean? Even if
absolutely, yes.
I borrow dogs, I'm like, I just want to hang out with your dog.
Yeah.
First of all, they're healing, I think, and then just like you said, I had a dog when I was little, and that thing used to lick me all over my face.
Right.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Which is good for you, actually.
It's bad, but let me ask you this, okay? Because I always want to play like devil's advocate a little bit, because you also hear people say, oh my gosh, if you have dogs, you need to be doing parasite cleanses. Everyone's got parasites in the family. Like, dogs have parasites, heartworm, this. So what are your thoughts about that?
A lot of it will be based on where you get a dog from, but no doubt they will probably have some parasites, but we all do. Parasites are a very normal part of the microbiome. Unless the dog has a parasite that's making it ill, then it's perfectly normal. Okay. And without parasites, our immune systems won't function properly. In fact, in parts of Europe, they have these things called parasite therapy. Where they specifically give people helminths and other types of parasites to reduce allergies. Wow. Because we know that exposure to these things all help modulate and develop the immune system. Mm-hmm. So the vast majority of microorganisms that have been discovered are either benign or beneficial. So 99% of them are. It's just a very small fraction that are actually harmful. Mm. And the best way to control those potentially harmful organisms is to crowd our system with the good guys. Okay. And that's really the way to do it.
Okay, instead of trying to kill them or something like that, instead it's to build up the surrounding stuff. I have noticed I moved to Florida like 3 years ago, and my son used to have like, I don't know, and especially in the winter, I don't know if it wasn't like rosacea, but just like a little bit of like bumps or sometimes a little red, maybe a patch of eczema, this or that. Anyway, since we've been here, his skin is like really awesome because he is outside all the freaking time, and most he walks around barefoot. Both of my kids, barefoot, no shirt on, in their shorts outside, and we live absolutely forested area. And I've noticed, and even for me, like I do a yearly like poop test or whatever, and the last one she's like, dang girl, like everything looked really good, but I think it's just because in Chicago I was inside so much, and we lived in cement. It was more like an urban area, so I've noticed just in my own little anecdotal experience that it does make a big difference. So
yeah, absolutely. And along with that, there's two other things to keep in mind for moms. One is personal care products, right? Moms really have to try to go as clean as they can with personal care products, because all of those personal care products contain things like parabens and all of these chemicals that have been shown to kill bacteria both on your body and then also in your body. I mean, a lot of that stuff will get absorbed through your skin and end up in the circulatory system. So going as clean as you can with personal care products, making sure to find ones that are non-toxic, are about as natural as can be, that can have a huge impact. Now, the other thing is also, reducing or even completely eliminating the use of sanitizing cleaners in your home. Chlorine-based cleaners. So there are studies that show that households that use chlorine-based cleaners tend to have kids with a higher incidence rate of viral infections and asthma and allergies. We have this misconception that chlorine disinfected smell means it's clean. That's actually a really unhealthy environment for kids, for pregnant moms, and then the soon to be born a child as well. So like in my household, we basically use water and a clean towel, and sometimes I'll put a few drops of essential oil in the water just to give it a little smell, and that's about it. And for sure, your toilet, you can use a cleaner and clean it, but the rest of the surfaces of the house do not have to be sterile.
Yeah.
And that's a common misconception and a mistake that people make. When we live in a sterile household, it actually perturbs our microbiome.
That's fascinating. Okay. Yeah. Just use like a little baking soda for your toilet. That's gives you a nice scrub. And that's really interesting, because what about like Castile soap? Sometimes I'll use that to rinse off the floors or something like that.
And if they don't have any strong antimicrobials in them, if they say on the bottle kills 99.9% of bacteria, you really don't need it.
Problem. Exactly.
Yeah.
Oils are pretty strong though, even. You know what I mean?
They are, yeah, absolutely. And that's why I just would put a couple of drops in a big thing of water, a squirt bottle of water. It basically dilutes any sort of antimicrobial activity, but it just gives a little nice smell if you're used to wanting some sort of scent, and that's perfectly fine. It's not going to do anything in terms of an antimicrobial. Now, the other thing, and we try to practice this being in the Midwest, because you can only do this a few months out of the year, but when it's nice out, like it has been the last week or so, most of the day we try to sit with the windows open, because you want to get as much of the environment blowing through the house as possible, because you're picking up bacteria from birds flying across, from a squirrel running over your roof. All of those things will release microbes, and those will get brought into the house, and which actually makes a huge difference in your health and your child's overall health.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's something like if you have bad allergies? Because I've noticed since I moved here, there's different pollen, there's different everything. Like there's like a month where I get more congested, but part of me is like, well, I just need to keep exposing myself, and eventually I won't be. You know what I mean? Instead of trying to like shut it away.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, that's called oral tolerance or immune tutoring. More exposure you get to it, and assuming you have a healthy microbiome while you're getting exposed to it, the healthy microbiome will increase the expression of something called T regulatory cells. And T regulatory cells, their job is to swim around the body and find unfavorable immune responses and suppress them, and teach your immune system not to react to those things. And so when you get good exposure to all of the allergens and you have a healthy gut and you're eating a diverse diet and you're maintaining a non-sterile household, you will actually build tolerance to the allergens.
Okay, cool.